Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. We'll get with Craig and Stacy Schroeder from Fight with Flash Foundation in just a moment. But today's show, I don't want to say usual lineup, but folks we've had on many times in the past. James Vandenberg going to talk a little bowl prep for the Music City Bowl in Nashville between Iowa and Kentucky. Didn't we do this last year? Well, we're going to do it again. Different characters this year, a lot of different characters because of either transfer portal, NIL, whatever. We're going to cover all Hawkeye football with James Vandenberg, former quarterback and great. And then we'll talk Iowa men's basketball with Jess Settles, former Hawkeye basketball playing great, and also a broadcaster with the Big Ten Network and Fox Sports. And then we'll close out the show with my buddy Michael Merrick's going to go on the other side of the camera and join me on set here and talk some Iowa women's basketball, Iowa Hawkeye wrestling, football, and men's basketball, all the above. So another full and rich show, but here we've got Craig and Stacy Schroeder with Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org. New York, New York, New York, is the great Frank Sinatra saying. You guys, what a trip you had. Coaches v. Cancer, Jim Valvano. What a great event that is every year in December, especially for ESPN. Great pictures. Again, go to their Facebook page. And so, Stace, let's start with you this week. We're going to talk about the New York trip, and then Craig's going to talk about Fund the Need, a big check presentation. We don't want to bury the lead, but Craig's got the cat. We're going to let the cat out of the bag this week instead of you, Stace. So let's talk New York, and what a fun trip it was for seeing Dick Vitale and you and Craig and the McCaffreys.
Oh my gosh, it was just so great to get the opportunity to be able to go out to New York and watch them play. And Margaret had mentioned about this, being the AYA or being the Jimmy V Classic and getting to go out there, and Dick Vitale was commenting the game, and oh my gosh, it was so special for us to actually be able to see him. We didn't even know if we'd get to see him, and we got to go see him, and he wanted a hug from us, and it was so special, and it just, the whole trip all around was amazing.
I know you guys have heard this, but watching it on television here, and again, obviously it wasn't the result we wanted against Duke, but I will say this. Seeing Dick Vitale and the cutaways they would do and show pictures of Flash and his, and I love that, he would always talk about Patrick and Flash. Mm-hmm. And it just, like I told you today when you came in the studio, Stace off the air, it's a great picture you posted of you and Flash embracing. It's heart-wrenching, but yet a beautiful picture of mom and son and all that you went through. And I just, as always, you guys do a great job. But to have Dick Vitale take that to a national level and just the heartstrings it pulls, but also the purse strings, hopefully, which is, we got to beat this beast. And I'll tell you, he's fighting his own battles with cancer and has won and continuing. But the McCaffreys with Patrick and seeing how well he's doing. And I know with you guys, the spirit lives on. So, Stace, I was going to ask if you had a good time, but folks, again, do yourself a favor. Facebook.com/Fight with Flash Foundation. Boy, what a time you and Craig had. The smiles are still on their faces. So, Stace, thanks for that. But Craig, welcome back. But boom, right into it because you got some exciting news for us, as always.
We have really exciting news. We just started, as of today, our Fund the Need, which is the donations that are coming in all the way through January 1st. Are here to help us. Part of our goal at the end of the year, our day of giving, which our big check is, but also to give gift cards to patient families. And our goal is to have 70 gift cards this year to be able to give to the families during Christmas. And then we do give some gift cards in a smaller denomination to the staff as well for all that they do and the appreciation and love that we have for them.
Drum roll, Stace. Do our job here.
The check that we are giving back this year is $100,022.
Of course.
$22.22. So $122,022.22. So.
Wow.
22.
The 22, of course, with Flash's favorite number. But guys, I got to tell you again, going into year 8 now, or completing year 8 of doing this after Flash's sad passing, and I'm blown away by an average. And I get crazy with the numbers high, but in this case, there's no exaggeration here. Averaging over $100,000 a year in your efforts, and wow, another fantastic year. So I'm going to join the viewers and give you a huge hand. And I know, and the neat thing is, folks, I want you to, and I know all of you know this, but I want to reiterate, completely voluntary here. Craig and Stacy have jobs that they work, their whole staff that's a part of Fight with Flash Foundation. I hate to use the word staff because nobody's paid. It's all volunteer, so every penny in, every penny out, and we're still going with that, and I love that. Craig, Stacy, what just as always, see smiles on the faces. We just can't help it. What great stuff you guys bring to the show every week, and continued the good fight as always.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
we
Dave.
can't
You're
thank
truly.
the support, the community support enough, because without them, we would not have all this. to
Absolutely.
give. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, Craig and Stacy, and it's truly my pleasure, and thank you. So for Craig and Stacy Schroeder, wow, you got to feel good now. So whatever's going on with the Hawkeyes, we'll cover it, but that's great stuff right there. So Facebook.com/FightWithFlash Foundation or FightWithFlash.org. It's all right there for you. So for Craig and Stacy Schroeder, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Back with more in a few moments. And there's James Vandenberg, our friend here at the program at Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. James, former Iowa Hawkeye quarterbacking, great. James now doing very well in the financial industry with CorridorInvestmentGroup.com and RBC Wealth Management. So James, my, oh, my, oh, my. It's been a few weeks, and my, how things have changed. The Hawks now go into the Music City Bowl in Nashville against a former Iowa player and coach in Mark Stoops, Bob Stoops' brother. And we did this last year, didn't we, in Florida instead of Tennessee? But here we are. It's going to be, what I like about this, James, is a New Year's Eve day game, 11 a.m. kick on national TV, and it's leading into the CFP, the two semifinal games, college football playoff. A lot of notoriety for this game, and James, it's all about the quarterbacks. We'll get into transfer portals and NIL and everything else that just happened recently at Iowa this last week. Of course, as always, we record this show on Tuesday afternoons, December 13th. I timestamp and date this because, James, as you know, it is a fluid situation. But as of right now, the Hawks still facing Kentucky in the Music City Bowl. But quarterbacks, James, Carson May, Joe Labus, not Joey anymore, Joe Labus. Which one's it going to be? And then Deuce Hogan resurfaces, because he transferred last year and is a walk-on at Kentucky, and he's farther down the depth chart at Kentucky than he was at Iowa, so he could have had a chance to play this game. So Levis goes to the NFL, so he's not going to play for Kentucky as a starting quarterback. I'm sorry I did so much of a lead up here, but I got to hear you talk about all things quarterbacking, James.
A lot of chaos, obviously, plenty of headlines to read, plenty of rumors to follow. Ultimately, it's a good opponent. I agree with you. Leading up to the CFP, the end of December, like, this is a good draw. I'm still not adjusted to, like, so many people choosing to not play, which that's really not on our side. I guess that's on their side to a degree. But I guess from, like, a Joe Labus or a Carson May perspective, it can't be better than basically getting a 30-day run out to prepare. Come in the middle of the game or even a game week during the season, things are a little bit more condensed, but getting 30 days or however many days it actually was, I mean, that's a nice run up. So we're going to get a good look at some guys or one of the guys that everybody was clamoring at certain points of the year to see.
So let's get back to that bowl game specifically, James, and let's talk to you about wins and losses. I know that's such a wild card. We don't even know who the starting quarterback is, like you said, whether it's May or whether it's Labus. Do you like Iowa in this game? And we don't even know who Kentucky's going to go with for sure now that Will Levis is leaving and going to the NFL draft. So do you like the Hawks in this game, or is it too early to tell?
I always like the Hawks. There's obviously a wild card aspect to this game on both sides, though, which I think, once again, I'm going to take the coin flip goes our way. I think no matter what anybody says about this year, we've been getting better, period. And obviously dropping the game in Nebraska, but there has been improvement all year long. And I think it's probably going to culminate in a victory on December 31st or 30th, whatever.
Yeah, 31st. Are you seeing a low-scoring game or mid-range or high-scoring? Where are you at with that?
I would say it's a low-scoring game if I had to bet my life on it.
You and I are in lockstep here. So, James, great talking to you all year long this calendar year. We'll talk to you next year in a couple of weeks after the bowl game to get your season wrap up. And I couldn't agree more with you. I think with everything that's going on, this has been a good year for Iowa, the way all things considered. And it's going to be fun to watch. So let's just sit back, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the game. But, James, thank you so much for all year long. And, again, taking us through bowl prep. Parker Hesse did that last week. You've done that in weeks past, you and James Morris. So what that's like as a player, and then also what's going on, in this downtime between bowl prep and the actual game itself. So always appreciate your insights on that. So A happy early New Year to you and your family, and early Merry Christmas to you and your family, and happy holidays to all of our viewers out there too. So, James, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
My pleasure as always. For James Vandenberg, former Hawkeye quarterback and now with RBC Wealth Management and CorridorInvestmentGroup.com, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with Jess Settles, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great. So back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Make next harvest your best harvest with Mershman Seeds. First, our connection to MS Technologies makes us an industry leader for Enlist E3 soybean genetics. Second, Starting Line seed treatment, our most advanced seed treatment, comes standard with added protection against both sudden death syndrome and white mold. Third, upgrade with Saltro and Trunemco for maximum protection against sudden death syndrome and soybean cyst nematodes. There's only one leader in soybean technology, Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There he is, our buddy Jess Settles. Jess, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great, announcer for Big Ten Network as well as Fox Sports. Jess is an Iowa farmer, most importantly, but Iowa native, former Mr. Iowa basketball, everything, all Iowa. As always, Jess, my friend, great to see you, and how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always great to be on with you. You know, I appreciate what you do and all the people you reach. And we're in full Big Ten swing here, and it's really getting cold outside, which means football's winding down and the real sport starts. You know what I'm saying?
I do indeed, my friend. So let's get you out of the cold weather and farming and get you back in studio. You're in-house now. So last time we talked to you, no joke, viewers, as you saw, we got Jess straight off the corn picker and straight off the tractor and into his truck and did it. So now we got him home today for a change. But always appreciate your availability, and let's get into it. You nailed it. We are hitting Big Ten season. Heartbreaker for the Hawks on Sunday. I was there to see it, and I told you off the air, Jess, I swear to goodness, Patrick McCaffrey's three at the end of overtime to send it into double overtime, I don't know how that didn't stay in. It was halfway down, rounded out and rolled out. I'm not into moral victories. And, you know, those guys that say, oh, it was a good loss. I've had many coaches, as I'm sure they've told you, have told me over the years, I'd rather have a horrible win than a good loss. And then, Jess, you called the Michigan State game earlier this weekend. Illinois loses to Penn State. What in God's green earth, Jess? This is just game one for some of these Big Ten matchups. We're getting after it often and early, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, so many of these games are going to come down to the wire. And it's a peculiar year because we lost 15 of our top 20 scores from last year. And then you throw in the transfer portal. There's no way for media, coaches, fans to even know what they're going to have coming into the season, right? It takes 4 or 5 games. Does this guy fit in? Who's going to step up? And so right now there are just so many even teams. There are so many new faces, so many glaring holes in some teams, and then other guys have to step. So that's really what it's been. It's been extremely unpredictable. There was so much written and said about Indiana with Trace Jackson Davis coming back and what they were going to finally be able to do. And we've always said, hey, that group of kids is going to have to prove that they can win on the road. They're going to have to prove that they can win games outside of Bloomington. And they go into Rutgers and get woodshedded, right? I mean, that's just what happened. Nobody's afraid of anybody. All kinds of guys are stepping up. It's just as competitive. And you look at a team like Iowa, just did not play well against Duke. Had a good opportunity there on a national stage and just surprisingly weren't very competitive. Rebracha was pretty you don't want to criticize him too hard, but he wasn't good around the rim against Duke. And then that group of guys, no Murray, new guys have to step up. You come back and you destroy Iowa State, and then you feel like you should have beaten Wisconsin. So that's the way it's going to be. And you're right. Patrick McCaffrey really stepped up his game. It's just going to be very unpredictable this year, and it's going to be fun for everybody to watch.
Let's talk about this Hawkeye team a little bit from what you see, and you just talked about it. Josh Dix getting some time, Dasonte Bowen getting some time. This is a pretty good chance for Fran to see some of his younger guys, and they're going to need to get some meaningful minutes out of these guys, as we just talked about, Jess.
Yeah, no question. And the Hawkeyes have had a pretty good rhythm for the last 16, 17 months. They won the Big Ten championship at the end of the year. Really were able to get their defense and rebounding figured out. Keegan Murray's the 4th pick in the draft. The recruiting is going very well. Fran McCaffrey and this staff, they really have an eye for what kids can become. Perkins, a kid who paid his dues on the bench and is now stepping up. Rebracha, a little bit undersized. Not a lot of teams were pursuing him in the transfer portal. Obviously, the Murray twins are a massive story. So this is really a golden opportunity for other guys to step up, for them to get healthy. The expectation there is to win, to compete for Big Ten championships. I'm assuming the finals are coming up, and there'll be a lot of scattered practice time, some get in there when you can, individual workouts, things like that. But I think the one thing that's been interesting this year is that obviously you lose a lottery pick in Keegan Murray, that changes the way you play, but they've missed Jordan Bohannon. And what they've missed about him is just what you were talking about with Kingsbury, just that deep threat to open up the defense. And Jordan Bohannon, there's no question he was streaky. And, some nights as an undersized guard, you're not going to produce like other nights, but he would pull that defense out so far, and which allowed those driving lanes to open up for Perkins. And it just took a lot of pressure off of him. Sanford right now is not shooting the ball the way he's capable of. So you can just tell from breaking down the tape, the defenses, they're not packed in because we have a tremendous, a great amount, number of good shooters. But I think going into that Duke game, I think we were only something like 18 of 70 something from, our last 3-point shots. And then against Iowa State, they found it again. So that's going to really be a key going forward. That's something they're going to have to work on and with these, these days off they have and these extra practice times. They got to shoot the ball better. They don't have Jordan Bueno. They don't have Keegan. And once they do that, they can find that rhythm and start rolling people. The league is there for the taking. And Purdue has got a great team with Zach Edey. Michigan's going to be tough. Indiana was Trace Jackson-Davis. But this Iowa team is really hard to guard. And when you talk to coaches around the league, when Iowa is shooting their three-pointer well, they are extremely difficult to beat. So I'm gonna be looking for that over the next couple games. Are they knocking down those 3-point shots heading into the next part of the conference play?
He is Jess Settles, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great, and now current broadcaster and basketball analyst for the Big Ten Network as well as Fox Sports. Jess, an Iowa farmer, Iowa native, Iowa through and through, former Mr. Iowa basketball. I'll tell you, Jess, one day we're just going to do an extended online, extended show with you. The stories this man can tell and has told. Jess, it's always a slice of heaven having you join us whenever we get you your schedule that you can join us. So thank you so much as always, my friend. And an early Merry Christmas to you and your family, a happy early New Year to you and your family, and to you viewers, obviously an early Happy New Year. So, Jess, thank you, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas to you and especially your listeners. And no, I didn't have to cut it in half to go unload a wagon this time. So I'm glad we got to get this in one take, buddy.
You are a rock star, my friend. We'll catch up with you after the first year and get into more of the Big Ten. So have great calls in the interim. For Jess Settles, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back with more to close out Hawkeyed with Michael Merrick in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Here's our buddy Michael Merrick. Michael, great seeing you again. How you doing?
Great seeing you, Dave.
Michael, of course, he's usually on the other side of the camera, but will join us here occasionally. And I tell you, he's basically the Big Ten Network Plus's voice of the Iowa women. But, hey, you know, we talked a lot of football with James Vandenberg, talked a lot of basketball with Jess Settles, men's basketball. Wrestling, of course, is just clipping right along. My buddy James Allen informed me the other day, the SID for wrestling. Tony Cassiope, what more do we got to say? Spencer Lee didn't wrestle at Tennessee Chattanooga, but we'll be back for more meaningful matches upcoming. Real Woods is the real deal. But my goodness, boy, Cassiope, just what a season he's having. So the Hawks went on the road, Tennessee Chattanooga. We're going to talk more Hawkeye wrestling after Michael and I are in Carver Hawkeye next week talking to Monica Sonano, Caitlin Clark, Coach Lisa Bluter. We're going to talk with some Iowa Hawkeye wrestlers, and what a great time to be on the show, Michael. We got so much going on, but let's you and I talk women's basketball, the Kate Martin injury, what's upcoming. You're going to be calling upcoming games here for the women. I'll let you take it over.
Yeah, so the Kate Martin injury, we still don't know a lot about that. We're hoping she's still going to be, day to day, figure things out from there. But recently, what we've seen from Iowa is what we've always seen from Iowa. It's the Caitlin Clark, it's the Monica Sonano show. Their last two games have been incredible. And while Caitlin Clark, if you just look at the pure shooting numbers, hasn't had the best two games. In those two games, she had 19 points and a triple-double, or a near triple-double, and then, 32 points and one assist shy away from another triple-double. She's already the all-time Big Ten leader. She might have another 3 seasons after this, 2 seasons left. I mean, what she's going to be able to do with the record books, she's going to put them so far out of reach. It's going to be the women's college basketball record book will just be the autobiography of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, the library of Caitlin Clark. And the interesting thing, Michael, another Big Ten Player of the Week award for her setting records on that or getting close to that record. But yeah, and you heard Coach Bluter talk about that. They're cognizant and aware. She's like, it's so sad to see Caitlin come either one rebound or one assist away from a triple-double. Because, yeah, as you said, it's a natural thing. What I like most about what you're saying and what Caitlin Clark is saying, Monica Sonano and Coach Bluter, and we're going to hear this next week, I know, they're really proud of their defense. Because when they lost those games early in the season to K-State, to Connecticut, tough teams, don't get me wrong, on the road in a neutral site. But, boy, what they did to Iowa State, Michael, let's hone in on that game specifically. Ashley Jones, the much vaunted and higher ranked at the time, Iowa State women. Now the Iowa women are 12 and Iowa State's back to 14. But I was interested to see how handily the Iowa women won that game. I mean, the final score was 10, 12 points, but they won that game going away, Michael.
Yeah, so they were down at halftime. It was just such an obscure first half in that game as two of the best offensive teams in the country. I mean, Iowa averaging near 90 points a game. They just finished with 23 points in that first half. Caitlin Clark was 2 for 14 from the field. I really liked that game, though, because it really showed the true adversity and the toughness that this Iowa women's basketball team has. I mean, they had everything go against them. Caitlin Clark couldn't hit a shot in that first half, but they just kept to it. They listened to their coach. They came out in the second half and just lit the world on fire, outscored Iowa State 27-8 in that third quarter, and that was basically the game from there. It was close at halftime. You wondered, someone's got to figure it out offensively. Well, the Hawkeyes did. Yeah. Caitlin Clark only missed one shot in that second half, and it was a deep heat check. Yeah. She hit 3 from Caitlin Clark range, and she just lit it up. But it wasn't just her. I mean, Sonano had an incredible performance. Kate Martin was hitting incredible threes. Yes. I mean, I always have said that I wish she would shoot more because I think she runs herself off of a few looks, and she is one of the better shooters on this team. Yeah. If she really just honed in and let it fly, no hesitation, I mean, I think in that Iowa State game, in that UConn game, we really see what Kate Martin can bring to this offense when she isn't running herself off the line.
Well, I think we have almost done, and we're going to be doing full shows in the upcoming weeks here. Again, special note with Monica Sonano, Caitlin Clark, and head coach Lisa Bluter. Michael and I are going to be at Carver Hawkeye next week and going to knock out a couple of shows all in one day and play those over the holiday season for you. So, Michael, great stuff from you as always.
Thank you, Dave.
You're very welcome. Great seeing you. And he is Michael Merrick, my production partner, as well as thanks to Jess Settles, former Hawkeye basketball playing great, and James Vandenberg, former Hawkeye quarterback great. And to you, the viewers, of course, as always. And again, special note, tune in the next handful of weeks. We're going to be recording next week with Caitlin Clark, Monica Sonano, and head coach Lisa Bluter from Iowa Women's Basketball. So for the aforementioned folks, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. That's all from me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.